Hello there. We are going to play a game today to practice using the symbols of greater than and less than. And so I hope you liked that video that we just watched. It's just kind of a fun, quick review of that concept. It's probably been a while since we've looked at those symbols. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play a game, and of course it's going to be me against you. And what I'll do is I'm going to pull a card, and this card says 52 hundredths, right? So if you're player one, which I will make you player one, you are going to shade in 52 hundredths. So what you would do with your pencil or a marker is you would go ahead and shade in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 2. And then I would get a turn, and I'm going to pull a card, and I get, ooh, wah, 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 I get 6 hundredths. So that was not very good for me. So what I get, and I'll be pink, I'll have to remember to use the right pens here, and I guarantee you I'm going to forget. So I would color in 6 hundredths. And then what I'd also like you to do is go ahead and write down what your number was, 0 and 52 hundredths, and I'm going to write down 6 hundredths. And you'll notice that I'm saying 52 hundredths and not 0.52 or 0.06, because when we say 52 hundredths or 6 hundredths, we can really tell which one is bigger. So then you've won this round, so what you are going to do, and I'm going to do, is we're going to go ahead and put this symbol down in the direction we think it belongs. So remember, the is greater than is when it looks like it's going to eat the bigger number because it's hungry, just like in the video. So you would do that, and you just got 1 point. Okay, so this is me, and then I will call you the mighty S's, the students. All right, so that's how we're going to play the game, just to review this concept. All right, your turn. You get what? Go ahead. I'd like you to say that out loud so you can practice saying it as a decimal, just like we've been doing all along. Ooh, look at this. You got 68 hundredths. I got 67 hundredths. So it looks like you have won this one too. So you're going to go ahead and shade. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then I'm going to just shade all the way down and leave 2 there. And then I got really close, didn't I? And this is where the picture can kind of help us see the difference. Or actually what we'll see is how close we actually were to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and shade to there. So just very close call there, but you won that one. So it's 67 hundredths is less than 68 hundredths, or 68 hundredths is greater than 67 hundredths. And just a reminder that when we have number sentences like this, we always read left to right, just like we do with a book. So keep that in mind. We can say it backwards, like I just did. 67 hundredths is less than 68 hundredths, but typically we want to read left to right, just like we do with books. Okay, your turn again. You got 53 hundredths. Hopefully I will get lucky here. I got 56 hundredths. So you go ahead and shade in what you got, and I will, oops, I told you I was going to use the wrong pen. I will go ahead and shade in mine. So I'm going to shade in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 6. 1, 2, 3, there we go. And you got 53 hundredths, so yours should look like this. 40, 50, and then 1, 2, 3. So visually you can see that I've won this one, right? So 53 hundredths is less than 56 hundredths. Now, if we're keeping score at home, what you can do is I've won one round, and you have won 2 rounds, right? So we'll just keep score with tally marks. All right, here comes the next one. 96 hundredths. Wow, what do you think of that one? That one, I think, for myself, is going to be hard to beat. So I got 34 hundredths. So go ahead and shade yours in, and I will shade mine in. So 34, 10, 20, 30, and then 4. And then you got 96. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to make a big X all the way through 9/10 and shade that in really quick like that. And then you got 60 hundredths, or I'm sorry, 6/10. And that would be for that. So clearly you've won that round because 96 hundredths is greater than 34 hundredths. And what I'd like you to do at home, as silly as it may sound, is I'd like you, when you are done with a turn with me, I'd like you to read the sentence out loud, because we really want to be hearing those numbers. And I forgot to trim my worksheet down here. I'm going to do that really fast. I kind of have to have everything the right size so it fits in the camera, so that we can squeeze everything in, and hopefully you're able to see everything. Okay, next one is you get 3/10, and I get 5/10. So who do you think's going to win this one? So 3/10 for you, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. Remember, 3/10 can also be written as like this, but we could also put our placeholder 0 there to show 30 hundredths. Same with 5/10. It starts out like this, but we can also say the same, that it's the same as 51 hundredths. 5/10 equals 51 hundredths. So it looks like I got this round. And to read this left to right, we're going to say 30, or let's say it in tenths. 3/10 is less than 5/10. Okay, and then if we're keeping score, it looks like I got a second one, and I don't know if I counted all of the ones you got. You got 3. So right now the score is 3-2. All right, are we ready to do the next one? Okay, you got 77 hundredths, and I got 64 hundredths. So go ahead and color yours in. So we'll write 77 hundredths, we'll write 64 hundredths, and again 60, I can count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to be 77. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then you should have colored in 7 more. Okay, so which one's bigger, 77 hundredths or 64 hundredths? You are correct. So let's read this together. 77 hundredths is, and I wrote my symbol wrong, is greater than 64 hundredths. 77 hundredths is greater than 64 hundredths. And I read that wrong, but did you notice that by making myself read it out loud, I heard my mistake? So it's really important we do that in math, that we really look at our final answers and we say, okay, I'm going to read this out loud. And as soon as I got to the less than symbol before I crossed it out, I knew I had done it wrong, and that's how I double check my work. And even to this day, as an adult, I still double check my math work, because you just never know. Okay, wow, look at that. 1 whole. How are you going to shade that in? And I got 16 hundredths. So I'm going to go ahead and shade mine in. I want you to shade yours in. So 16 hundredths is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. You got 1 whole, so does that mean this is your answer? 1 whole little square? If you're yelling at your monitor and saying, no, that's not right, you are correct. You got 1 whole, right? You got 1 whole grid, so good for you. You got 100 hundredths, so I'm going to shade in very quickly to show that. You got 1 whole grid, which is a great card to pull. And let's go ahead and write this as 1 and 0 hundredths, okay? And it's greater than 16 hundredths. And if we look at the place value really closely, I have a 0 here, a placeholder 0 that I don't always have to write, but you can see right off the bat that 1 is bigger than 0 in the ones column. Therefore, you have gotten the bigger number. All right, let's do another one. Here's yours. Boy, you're getting lucky. 75 hundredths, that's a nice draw, and I got 2 tenths. So go ahead and write your, or sketch in your answer. I got 0 and 75 hundredths, and I got 2 tenths. So for me to be able to shade mine in, I'm going to think of my grid as, instead of being divided into hundredths, I'm going to think of it being divided into tenths. So here's 1/10, and here's 2 tenths. I could also say placeholder 0 is my friend. It helps me take a look at this and make sure I have it answered correctly. Now you have 75 hundredths, so your picture should look like this. 1 more tenth gets me to 70, and then 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So clearly you have won that round. So very good. I have not kept score in a while, but I really have a feeling that you are winning. Okay, here we go. You are going to be 24 hundredths, and I got, wow, 8 hundredths. So once again, 24 hundredths, we'll write it down, and I will write down 8 hundredths. And again, let's just look at this in terms of place value. So we match up on, there are no ones, so it's every digit is to the right of the decimal, so we know that it's less than 1 whole, like this one was. But now we can look in the tenths column, and you have 2 tenths and I have 0 tenths. So already I know that you have the bigger number. Okay, so go ahead and shade yours in. I'm going to shade in 8 little hundredths, and you're going to shade in 24 hundredths. And you'll notice that I'm shading in like this really quickly because I know that one column has 10 tenths, and that can, 10 100ths, and that can help me go really fast. Instead of having to count each one, I'm not going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to count by tens, 10, 20, and then 4. And again, you have won that round. So let's count up how many you have won. So you have greater than, greater than, greater than, greater than. So that's 4. And then over here you have 5, 6, 7. So you have a score of 7. Well done. And it looks like I have a score of just 2. Yep, I got 2. So you beat me really well. 7-2. Well done. So I hope this review helps you remember what these symbols mean, and we're going to do this sort of thing tomorrow with a number line to kind of look at it differently. So what you're going to do is go ahead and move on to the next slide and check out the lesson or the extra work you have for today. See you next time.